very excited to have my next guest join us. Her latest album is called Everybody Needs a Hero. In fact, the extended version is out right now, just released. Orla Gartland.
Hey!
Welcome.
How's it going? Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for your time. I'm so appreciative, and we were just chatting right before this about how we did this over Zoom, and it's good to finally meet you in person.
It's infinitely better in person.
You know?
Always.
Are you over the FaceTime and the digital, video calls and things like that?
I was at the time. I think we all saw more of Zoom than we would have liked.
You're telling
in those
me.
couple of years.
Yeah.
I feel like everyone has a little bit of Zoom PTSD now.
Absolutely.
And I don't use it quite as much anymore. And I get to do a little bit more of this in person, which is, like I said, infinitely better. But weird times. But we got through.
Yeah, we got through.
And here
I don't
we
even
are.
want to talk about how long ago that was, but you're here. You're touring on this new album. How are things going? The reception has been fantastic from what I see.
Yeah, and it's felt fantastic for me as well. I've really been humbled by the crowds on this run and the tour that we did in November. These are my first headline shows in the States and in Canada. And I had always seen that I had an audience there, but you just never know with the internet, who's going to come through. Are those people really there? Will they actually come as far as buying a ticket with your name on it? And so there was an amount of risk in it. I'm an independent artist, I'm self-funding everything. So there's a little bit of a cross of the fingers when we booked the tours like this. But it's been full rooms and been people who are a really lovely mix of people who've waited for a really long time for me to get over here, and also the odd person who I'll chat to at the gig and they'll be like, I found you 2 weeks ago, and they'll be brand new. So it's this kind of Orla through the ages crowd, but then some people have been waiting on for 10 years. So it's really lovely. Been a very kind of potent energy in the room.
You're telling me.
I love it.
Yeah, this is we're filming this in San Francisco. This is your second time around right now.
Yeah.
And we can't ignore the aesthetics here, the environment, the atmosphere.
I know.
At the legendary Bimbos
we built
365.
This just for you.
And yes, the parrot, we modeled after a real parrot. Someone spent at least 2 months.
It's all a set if you push one of these walls.
You tell people that they're going to come to Bimbos in San Francisco and be like, where's this room?
Yeah. No, it's good. Not your average dressing room. I'm delighted.
It's a lot better than what you probably encounter in other cities and what have you, right?
Yeah.
A blank white wall with various drawings of human anatomy.
Yeah, I know it well. No, this is a treat. I'm loving this venue, and the staff are suited up, and I'm not very in the know with the history of this place, but I'm very intrigued. Yeah,
this has been around forever. I want to say the 1940s or something like that. Nancy Sinatra played here, and a lot of the older greats, and those are no longer with us and whatever, but a lot of rock and roll shows too.
Yeah.
Incubus played a secret show here at one point. Silver Sun Pickups during the early phase of their career played here. So it's interesting the type of people that play here, but the aesthetics and the environment still stays the same.
Very consistent.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really charming room. The stage has all these different levels on it. It's a kind of room where you're sort of working your show in around it, but I like that kind of thing. I'd take that over a standard black box venue any day. I'm intrigued. I've loved being here today.
I was going to say, this is probably more suitable to the type of art you create because...
I think so. Just a little bit of charm in it all,
Yeah.
I think. We're touring with a bit of production now. We've got lights and things. That's first for me. But even still, it's I want to respect the spaces that I'm in, and especially those that have a history. It's not about steamrolling through with your production and just putting on the same show every night. I really like when me and the band have to stand in some weird formation because the stage is in the corner or because there's weird sort of things in around. I don't know, I just think it's so much more interesting to adapt your show and what you're coming through with to the spaces you're in, and trying to respect the lineage or the history of some of these spaces. I can't believe it's been here for that long. That's so cool.
Right. And I throw back to the 40s and 50s, a lot of the vocalists and the standards type of artists.
So sick.
Horns and
Yeah.
And
yeah, you can tell it's very classic.
The last time we spoke was when you had just released Woman on the Internet. And I was hoping that you would tour and do some things around it, but instead I saw you on stage with your good pal Dodie.
Yes.
And everyone that was doing their theatrics and drumming, and I forget what else you were doing on stage, but it was just a trip to see you in that element, and I feel like that kind of intertwines with what you do now.
Yeah, no, it's all kind of, it's all a building block for what I do now, if that makes sense. Like,
Yeah.
I think I learned so much from being in Dodie's band, and learned a lot about how to tour and how to keep like sane and how to do this job like sustainably, because it's such a weird existence. This part of the job, moving around so much, is like inherently uncomfortable, not just on stage, but there are like, you know, 22, 23 other hours in the day. And I learned so much from the tours with Dodie, especially the ones we did here, because we did some really long tours with Dodes here, like about 6-7 weeks at a time sometimes. So I think I learned a lot in that time that I'm now like taking into these tours with myself, whether that's like on stage or off stage. And it's, yeah, they were really fun tours. I learned loads, and I really enjoyed not being the center of attention. It's something I'd love to do again in the future.
I think I was one of the many that recognized you on stage too. So it was like, wait, that's Orla. Zooming in on my phone. That is Orla.
Could it be?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was great. I really enjoyed being a like cog in someone else's machine as well, because there's a lot to think about when you're the headliner. You're shifting the tickets, you're trying to think about the chat in between the songs. Do you want to be funny? Do you want to be earnest and serious? Do you want to be in character? And I don't know, I think when I'm on stage in my own shows, it's very stimulating, for better or worse. Like, I'm thinking so much about the whole experience, like how are the audience finding this? Whereas when I played with Dodes, I loved the clarity of just having a role to play, and if I did a good job, that was my bit done.
Right.
You know, but it's part of a bigger thing. I loved it.
There's a lot of satisfaction in being in a supportive role.
Yeah, there really
You don't
is.
necessarily need to be the star every time.
No, I completely agree. I really enjoyed it. And then me and Dodes went on to do Fizz together, the band I spoke about. And again, I think we all really enjoyed. I guess that was kind of a hybrid. There was 4 of us, and it was like a sort of shared 4 kind of front people all passing around the spotlight at different times. But I just really enjoyed that. I just love music in all its forms. And I'm like just as happy being in the background as I am like standing up front.
Obviously, you've been doing this forever. We've been watching your journey on YouTube and online for years and years. And so it's very curious how you released your debut, then you went and did this thing with Dodie and friends, and then came back.
Yeah.
So you got a lot of life experience.
Very much so. And I think the music is better for it. You know, I used to stress when I was like early 20s, I used to stress about, you know, whatever it was, moving through these milestones quicker, like first American tour, first album, second album, wanting to get through those things as soon as possible. And maybe at one point also wanting to like sign a record deal and do a few like industry milestones. But I think now I'm 30, like I'm thinking, yeah, I don't know. I have a strong sense lately of just everything for me having happened at the right time for a reason, whatever reason that, you know. I think the music is, I think when I listen to music that I'm a fan of as well, yeah, you can hear the life experience in it. And you know, people who have like a story to tell and like something to say, it like takes a couple of years of living to get there.
Yeah.
You know, some people are wise beyond their years, but yeah, I think it's been pretty imperative to me to have to grow up a bit first.
And I'm sure sometimes there are just those life moments that you can't not document and write about, that really spur that writing moment.
Yeah,
right?
and just go through a bit of pain,
Yeah.
bit of struggle, bit of grit. Like
Yeah.
that's what I want to hear. And other people's, that's what we relate to, and like that's the fire in the tank, you know. So I think, yeah, I feel really glad to be here doing this tour at this point, even though there would have been a point where I'd like to have come here sooner, but now I'm just like, no, this is the perfect time. I feel like ready for the stages I'm playing and doing some of the biggest festivals I've done like this summer, and I'm just glad I have this set of songs with me doing that and not it having happened like 3-4 years ago. So yeah, I feel very like at peace with the timeline of it now.
Was there a moment where you were kind of frustrated and may have given up or kind of relegated yourself to, well, I guess this is it for me?
Yeah, I think so. When I grew up in Dublin, then I moved to London early 20s, or about 19, 20. And like I had a lot of friends at that point who were signing major record deals. And it was kind of, I was watching this happen like left and right, this group of friends, this person, like all signing these deals. I think at that point, yeah, I'm not like I'm generally not that comparative, but I think there was probably a moment where I would have wanted that for myself. And I think just seeing it happen to friends, and I think socially it was quite interesting because I was in a group of friends that like were all earning quite different amounts of money, and so we were all having a very different experience of life, but kind of together. So I think maybe at that point I would have been a bit frustrated, but I have to say I'm so glad now that that didn't happen to me. Like, now I'm very at peace, and now getting to be an independent artist, getting to own the albums I've put out, getting to do these tours and like call the shots, like where are we gonna go, where are we gonna not go, which song comes out, which song doesn't come out, like that is a privilege. Like a privilege earned, but like a real privilege that I wouldn't have if I was locked into some like awful deal I signed when I was 21, you know?
It's a really curious time now, especially.
Yeah, very much so. So I think, there was a point where I wanted things to go faster. And every now and then I do have a little burst of that, but it's just ambition and drive, and it's a good thing.
Right. Yeah. There's a moment of, okay, great, so and so advanced to the next step. It's going to be my turn soon. Or you use that as fuel to say, all right, I'm going to work harder, and then I'll get to that point too.
Everyone's in their own little lane doing their own thing, and I think, for some, it just happens at different paces for different people, and I'm at peace with it now. But it's a funny old game.
You're telling me.
Yeah, I bet.
I talk to so many artists that have been on that journey, and then they got signed and great things happened, and then it kind of trickled off, and then they get dropped, or
they have a second wind or a third wind. They get signed, they get dropped and then signed again, or it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
The path is almost never straight. It's usually very, very windy and weird, but I think it's just about keeping going. I think, and if you really feel it's a very vocational job, isn't it? It's like no one in their right mind would choose this job unless you had to. Like, you have to have a fire in your belly and like something to say, otherwise it just doesn't make any sense. So I think if you just keep hold of that as an artist, keep pressing on, and it won't happen for everyone, but I'm happy with my corner of it right now.
It's also a great time, I think, for independent artists, because we have seen that surge of TikTok artists blowing up, getting signed left and right, and then they disappear. And then you have someone like Chapel Roan, 10 years grinding away, and then finally having her moment. Sabrina Carpenter, same thing, in a different way, but still working
a long game.
Right.
I think it's taking longer and longer to like break artists, whatever that means. But like for artists to like poke through on that level, like I love those examples. I love the two of them. I love it's just real long game stuff, and the journey becomes part of like the art they're putting out now. It's not just like something you try and cover up and you pretend that you came out of nowhere and poked out of obscurity and that your first song was a massive success. It's like, no, we don't have to pretend that anymore, that we're just like coming out of nowhere. It's like, it's like Chapel Roan she's not good and she's been around for 10 years. It's like she's that good because she's been around for 10 years.
Yeah.
And I think having a spotlight on you before you're ready is really damaging. That's something I think I've realized, because like you said, the internet like gives people these massive spikes and surges of attention, especially TikTok. And I just, it's interesting. I think having loads of eyes and ears on you before you're ready is pretty hard, because it's hard to get those moments a second time around. And for me, it's not, I've never had a big moment like that. It's just been this like marathon, not a sprint, slow and steady thing. But if something did go off, I feel like I've got a live show I'm very proud of. I've got a back catalog I'm very proud of. It's like there's the skills are there, if that makes sense, rather than having to like build them from scratch. But
well, then that brings up a good point. How did you handle that moment when the song that was featured on Heartstopper, Why Am I Like This, did its thing?
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden people are like, oh, this new artist, Orla Gartland, that I discovered.
I know. Well, like, I guess that was the closest thing I've ever had to like loads of eyes and ears on me at once from like somewhere else. And I remember watching that scene in the show, and when you get asked about like a sync like that, you don't get to watch the scene ahead of time. You just approve the usage, and I watched it on Netflix like everyone else when it went up. And I expected, like most syncs, that it would be like, on screen for 10 seconds, played in the background of a cafe, whatever. When they played the whole song with no dialogue over it, I was just like, oh, this is a much more meaningful part of this than I thought it was going to be. And it's a really emotional scene, and it's just a beautiful show and a real like moment in itself. I remember watching it and just being like really surprised that they used so much of the song. And then I found out after the fact that Alice, who wrote the show or wrote the web comics that the show is based on as well, like wrote it was done with the song in mind, if that makes sense, rather than the song was put on it after the fact.
Oh.
So she wanted to include the song, and I think that's why there was no dialogue or like other things happening over it. And yeah, no, that was a really interesting moment. But I felt, again, I kind of felt ready for it. The song had been out a few years at that point. The song had been out for 2 or 3 years. Had done its thing in my corner of the internet and with the people who know me already, but not really beyond that. So yeah, for me, I was just like, this is sick. Like, story, you know, something I wrote about my own brain and like experience of the world is now paired with someone else's story entirely. And it kind of runs away from you. Like, I kind of, particularly that song, I just in a way don't feel as like mine anymore, but not in a quite a nice way. Like when I play it, there's still such a like, everyone's phones goes up and everyone's eyes like well up, and I can tell how much it means to people. And I'm kind of like, yeah, I see that song in particular is like, kind of having its own life. Right. Yeah, I think it means a different thing, and it means a different thing to people than I wrote it about. That's like what I love about songwriting. It's like I can write something about this, it can mean something else in the show, it can mean something else to someone who wrote the show or watched the show. So yeah, I love that. I think that these songs having like a second, third, fourth life, that's like really special. That's the good stuff.
That's the fun part of it.
That's the really like, that's the magic, definitely.
I can only imagine as an artist. I am not an artist, so I can only live through you.
Of course.
There's so many songs obviously that I interpret, and that means a lot to me too.
Yeah, right? and your like, your interpretation of it means no less than the person who wrote it. That's what I just love about songwriting. It's so kind of, so kind of witchy in that way. It's so cool.
A lot of songs on your new album definitely resonate with a lot of people, whether it's with regards to relationships or growing older, turning 30, which is on the extended version here. You actually named it 30.
I just named it 30. And there it is.
Last we spoke, we talked about turning 25 and milestone life moments and how you are still developing your frontal lobe and those kind of things.
Yeah.
And now being 30, you touched on some of the aspects of having perspective, but writing that particular song, when was that written? Was it on the cusp of 30? Was it?
It was just before. Yeah, the lyric in it is pushing 30, so I wrote it when I was like 29 at the end of last year. And just as like a song written very quickly. Wrote it at the end of the last tour I did here. I was in LA staying at a friend of mine's. I do have this thing I've done for a few years now called my Secret Demo Club, which is where I send out a demo every month and it naturally ends up being my like core people, my like people who really, really care. They get a demo in their inbox every month, and I've been doing it for about 7 years. So I'm on demo 112 or something now. Wow. And so yeah, it's a really good exercise because it means that even if I'm touring or I'm busy doing something else, I have to write at least one song a month. And they end up naturally being like diary entries or timestamps of where I'm at that particular time. And so that was just, I think that was last November's demo for my demo club. And just ended up writing about how this time in my life feels. And I think it's quite a common experience either side of 30 to look around you and like really take stock, or some people go through like big life changes, big breakups, big moves, big career changes, things like that. So I was feeling and seeing a lot of that around me, this kind of like the rug getting pulled from underneath everyone, and everyone having these like big thoughts for the first time of like where do they want to live in the future? Do they want kids? Do they want a family, or they want to focus on their career for the next 10 years? Like, these are all things I was not thinking about at 25.
Right.
And everyone around me seems to be thinking about now. So I kind of wanted to just bottle the feeling of that kind of uncertainty.
And now what also does that same?
Similar thing, yeah. A lot of questions, not many answers on the old extended edition.
Which is fantastic. It now leaves us wondering and wanting more for the next album.
Yeah, and for me as well, like these are all questions I have about my own situation, my own life, and the music always mirrors that. Yeah. So it's nice to, I think now what in particular is like, it's the end of the story or the end of the chapter, but it's more a question mark than a full stop, because I really don't know in music and life, like what is next, which is, it's exciting. But
Yeah.
It's, yeah, daunting as well.
That's life.
That's life, baby.
And you've been documenting every step of the way, and we're there with you.
Oh, love
I
it.
really love the music that you make, and
Thank you.
look forward to the show, especially your performance at Outside Lands.
Yes,
That's going to be exciting.
My first festival here in San Francisco. I've been told not to call it San Fran. Is that right? Apparently, San Franciscan.
That is
San
a true.
Franciscans?
That's a
Did
true
I even
story.
say
San
that?
Franciscans, yeah,
Okay, the San Franciscans is good,
yeah.
but San Fran is bad. So I had no idea. Someone just
Oh.
tweeted me yesterday and was like, "Whatever,
Oh, really?
whatever you do, don't say San."
Oh
Fran."
man, they're saving you from tonight.
Well, I think it's good. I don't think I would have stood on stage and gone San Fran, but like, thank God I didn't. Okay, noted. These are
Yes.
local things that.
These are local
This
things.
is This is. I don't want to be a tourist. Okay, it's important for me to know this. But yeah, I'm very much looking forward to Outside Lands. I'm going on tour with Glass Animals, and they're doing that festival as well. So we'll
Yes.
roll through there
Oh,
together.
that's amazing. Have you been to Golden Gate Park before in your journeys
Never.
here? Oh,
Never.
you're in for a
That's
treat.
a first.
You're in for a big treat.
So is it quite
Park.
central? It's in the city.
It's
the
in the
festival?
city, right? Just like
Wow.
New York with Central Park, and I don't know, London has their big
Wow.
park in the middle, right? Somewhere.
Yeah. Well, there's a couple in London. Yeah. Oh, that's great. I'm excited.
Appreciate the time.
Of course.
Great to see you.
Yeah. Thank you so
person.
much for making the time and setting it all up and
Yeah.
sitting with me in this crazy cellar.
Now we can celebrate with some wine. Hopefully that someone will gift us.
Oh yeah. It's well aged.
Orla Gartland, right here on B-Sides.